What's going on, everyone? It's me, Lone. Welcome to a very special Fallout 76 video. I'm here with DUCHESSFLAME, and we're going to be telling you everything you need to know about the recent released Fallout 76 Gone Fishing update. Before we jump into that, I do want to say, Duchess, how are you going? Welcome to the channel. How's things going?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Tired, cold, the
A little bit sick as well. Yeah.
Yes. So, but I'm actually looking forward to this update. Like, fishing buffs, like this is just me all over.
New perk cards, like there's a few things to cover in this update. So we're going to be doing a deep dive, telling you everything you need to know about it. Thanks so much to Bethesda for partnering with this video as well. And we are also going to be talking specifically about everything that DUCHESSFLAME does with buffs and brews. I'm including all the links in the description below. We'll dedicate a section at the end to talking about everything that she is doing there. Fantastic work, by the way. I follow your website for every bloody update. Everything that you release, it helps me out so much. So we're going to be talking about that at the end. Please check the links in the description below. Duchess, Gone Fishing is the 23rd major update for Fallout 76. Again, it has been recently released. It includes the long-awaited, the long-teased fishing gameplay mechanic, in addition to a new season, in addition to a bunch of other changes. So let's start off with the fishing system, the elephant in the room. Tell us about the fishing system. How do players start it? Where can you fish? How is it triggered? All that kind of baseline information. Let's get into it.
All right, so the first thing you're going to need is a fishing rod. Now, to do that, there is a very short quest that introduces you to some of the characters, the fishing mechanics, and things like that. Yep. There are two ways that you can start the quest. At Vault 76, there's a poster you can interact with that's next to the donations box. Or if you go to the Maya and turn your Pip-Boy radio on, you'll get the usual distress call thing. Yeah. Follow the radio and it will take you to the Fisherman's Rest in the Maya. And then, just follow the prompts. You'll meet the fisherman, you'll meet Captain Raymond and Linda Lee. And they have a cat as well, who's called Poppy. And then Captain Raymond will basically explain the fishing concept to you, give you some bait, and then you go off and you catch some fish. All
right, so that is the general concept, and reading a poster or listening to a radio station, that is usually how the quests start nowadays. So it's very easy for you to get into it. You can't miss it, essentially. But let's say people accept the quest, all right? They're there, they're at the Fisherman's Rest, they got some bait. How do you start fishing? Like, how does the process actually work, especially for those that haven't got the opportunity on console to play the PTS? What can they expect? How does the mechanic actually work?
What they're saying is that if you can swim, you can fish. That's technically not correct, because I can fish in about bodies of water that high.
Great.
But you can't fish out of the toilet. I was like, come on, man, come on.
Could you imagine the fish you could find in a toilet?
So when you go to a body of water, if you actually look into the water at the moment, or before patch 60, you would just have drink or collect. There's another option that comes up on your screen now, and it just says fish. Now, if it's grayed out, it means the water's not deep enough. Generally, what I do is I just kind of like move forward or, back or forward a little bit until it finds a spot. And then you need to long press down. And then what it will do is it'll put you into a animation called the fishing pose. And it's basically you holding a rod. And then you can change the camera angle from there. Once you're happy with the camera angle, you then click A, which will put your rod into the water. And then that's where the mini game kind of starts. And it bobs on the water. And then once a fish hooks on, it will go under and your line will go taut. And then on your screen, on the bottom right, you'll actually get a little radar and a cone shape. And then what you need to do is you need to move the cone around to line up with the fish. But the fish will jump around the radar and, you got to try and line it up and things like that. And then that whole time the fish is going up the cone. And then once the fish gets to the end of the cone, you've caught it, and then there'll be an animation of you pulling it out of the water and then holding it.
What about bait? What about weather? What about the different things that can affect your effectiveness in fishing and the kinds of fish that you're actually catching? Can you go into a bit of detail about that as well?
Yes, and this is actually a part that I enjoy, that they're I'm glad that they added, because instead of just fishing, there's weather types and baits that affect the spawn rates and the catch rates of what you're catching. So you can have what they call no weather, then there's rainy weather, and then there's nuke weather. Now, certain fish, like glowing fish, for example, are more likely to spawn during nuke weather. Rainy weather, I've actually found, seems to be the good middle ground when it comes to catching all of the fish.
Okay.
And then the no weather is just everything that's not rainy or nuked. And then with the bait, it increases the chance of getting better fish to actually bite onto your rod.
Yeah.
Now, there is 3 types. There's common, improved, and superb bait. Common bait you can buy from Captain Raymond. Yep. It drops from the Pip-Boy Daily, which I will mention in a moment. There'll also be an Atom Shop item where it generates common and improved bait. But you'll have no problem getting common bait. Improved bait, this is one, again, I've found a combination of rainy weather and improved bait. You can actually catch most of the fish that way. Improved bait also drops from the Pip-Boy Daily. You can find it in fridges and the blue coolers as well.
From memory as well, when you do certain events, improved bait can drop. Is that correct as well?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
You're right. All good.
I was like, I know there's one more. So when you complete public events and seasonal events, you can either get 1, 2, or 3 pieces of improved bait. It is random. It's like a 33.33% chance of whether you'll get 1, 2, or 3 pieces. Yeah. And that's standard. That's on top of all your other rewards as well. So, and then you've got your superb bait. Now, the superb bait you can only get from the scoreboard, which makes it a little bit harder to obtain, but the drop rates that you get from the improved bait equal out to that hard to getness. But like I said, so I spent about 100 hours fishing on the PTS. Only 100 hours.
Totally, yeah.
And I found that the rain and improved bait was the perfect combination. So I personally saved my superb bait for trying to catch the local legends.
So speaking of local legends, speaking of the type of fish, if there's any limited or seasonal fish, can we get into a little bit of that as well? What are the local legends?
So they are, there's 3 fish that you can only get from certain locations on the map. So these are quite difficult to land as well. So with the local legends, you don't have to, but the only real way you can actually catch them is with superb bait and a fully upgraded fishing rod, because they jump around the radar, that little radar and the cone a lot more, and your upgraded mods on your rod do things like allow you to move the cone faster, they reel the fishing quicker, they strengthen your line as well. Yeah, the 3 local legends, one can be caught at the Big Ma, I think I'm saying that right, in the Maya. The other one can only be caught at Wavy Willards, so the swimming pools. Yep. In the Wavy Willard, and then the other one is inside Organ Cave. So
you've got those local legends, right? Like, I know that we're going to cover this in a little bit, but what are the benefits of catching the local legends? Like, why are they so important?
Well, apart from the bragging rights, they are linked to lifetime challenges. Yep. So if you complete certain lifetime challenges, then you can unlock camp items. And then I think you get 3,000 caps and 800 XP if you catch them. But it would definitely be the bragging rights for sure, because I managed to catch one in 100 hours.
In 100 hours. Whoa.
Yeah.
So they're really hard. And you mentioned camp items and cosmetics. So what is tied to this new fish mechanic? Like, what are the kinds of rewards that you can get for catching these fish?
So it is a sea theme. So you've got a lot of camp furniture that looks like it was found in a pirate ship in the bottom of the ocean. You've got couches, chairs, desks. There's a backpack skin.
Nice.
There's a really cute cooking station. I actually really like it. There's a kelp curtain. Mm-hmm. There's a chandelier. So very similar theme to what's on the scoreboard for season 21. Yeah. And there's plushies. Oh, there's an angler plushie, a Mileck plushie, and a Linda Lee plushie.
All right, so a bunch of rewards, a bunch of, cosmetics and camp items that you can get as part of the season as well. But tell me about fish bits. Like, what are fish bits? How do you get them, and what can you do with them?
When you catch a fish, if you go to the cooking station, it will allow you to chop up the fish into these fish bits. Now, the size of the fish depends on how many fish bits you get. So if you get a small fish, you're only going to get one fish bit. But if you catch a axolotl or a local legend, you'll get 25 fish bits.
Wow, okay.
And then once you've got these fish bits, you can then do a few things with them. The first one is you can use them to cook things like fish and potatoes, grilled fish chowder. Now, all of those are provide different buffs. So the grilled fish is actually tied to the fishing aspect, and it helps you to catch the fish faster without getting too technical about it. Yeah. The fish and potatoes is an XP buff for carnivores. So you get 5% XP. And then the fish chowder is similar to perfect bubblegum. And it just reduces how fast your hunger empties.
If you haven't decided to become a ghoul, that's something that you probably want to keep an eye on. Before you mentioned very briefly axolotls, right? Now, in terms of rarity, in terms of importance of axolotls, I've seen the photos of them. They look very cute. Can we talk about a bit about them a little bit? You're not just catching fish in this update. Unless axolotls are considered fish. I don't know. But axolotls are there and you can catch them.
Honestly, the artwork for the axolotls are just beautiful. Like,
hell yeah.
Props to them for that. So the way that the axolotls work is that they're actually spread out. They're a limited edition, a limited time type thing. Only one type of axolotl will spawn per month, and they can only be found in certain regions. So when the Gone Fishing update drops in June, it will be the banded axolotl, and it can only be found in the Maya and the Toxic Valley. So what that means is that if you're trying to complete a lifetime challenge and you don't want to dilute your spawn rate pool, then don't fish in the Maya or the Toxic Valley during the month of June, because it will add axolotl to your spawn pool, making it harder to get the other fish if you're looking for particular fish. There's 12 different axolotls in total, and there is a lifetime challenge linked to that, which is a player title.
So we've covered the axolotl, we've covered the type of fish. You did mention, though, that there are upgrades with the rods. I know you can go Mark 1, Mark 2, etc. So can we talk about the upgrading the rods or even crafting them in the first place? What kind of mods are available and how are they unlocked?
So there are actually 2 mod slots for the rod. One is the hooks and one is the reel. Now, the Mark 1, 2, 3, and 4 that you are referring to is for the reel slot.
Yep.
And those are unlocked by completing lifetime challenges. So catch 1 small fish and 2 medium fish, and it will unlock the Mark 1 reel for you. It is a little bit different in this, so you don't auto-learn the plan once it unlocks. It drops into your inventory as a physical plan. But if for some reason you drop it or destroy it without learning it, because you've completed that challenge, you can actually purchase it from Captain Raymond or the fisherman.
Oh, nice.
They are not.
Cool.
They are non-tradable though. But it is a good backup for that. So then, and then as you go down, you will unlock Mark II, Mark III, and Mark IV, which you can then go to a tinker's bench and you can, as if you were upgrading a normal weapon, just apply the mods. Now, the Mark I and II, 3 and 4 are more for how fast the fish goes up the cone in the mini game. And also how fast you can move the cone around on the radar.
Yeah.
But then your other mods, which is the fishing hooks, this is where it gets more customizable, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. So when you first start fishing, try and put the steady handle mod on first. It's a lot more of a forgiving mod and it allows you to get used to the mechanics. Now, there is another mod, another hook that you can put on, for example, that if you've got faster react times, then it gives you other bonuses, like it might make the cone wider. So you've got a better chance of catching the fish, or it reels the fish in quicker, or when the float's bobbing in the water and the fish bite, you've actually got to press A to sort of start reeling it in. But if you're not quick enough to do that, then the fish will swim away. But there are rods that actually extend that time to give you a faster chance to hook them. The fishing hooks were designed to actually catch certain types of fish. However, I found that they're better more as a play style. There's no conditions in the game file that says you have to have the advanced drag mod to catch this fish. It's more if you have poor hand-eye coordination or you are slow to react, then the advanced drag might be better for you because it has a wider cone on it. I would actually look at the hooks more as a play style than an actual use this to catch this fish.
Yeah, that's what I read a lot about it as well, is that there's no necessary best mod there. It's down to personal preference, which one that you prefer, and you might find one, depending upon your play style, more effective than the other. Definitely.
But I will say, I believe everyone should be starting with the steady handle, even if it's like for half an hour, because you do need to get used to the mini game. There is a bit of a learning curve. The fishing hook mods are actually part of the Pip-Boy Daily that I've mentioned a few times now but haven't actually spoken about. And they have a 20% chance to drop as a reward, but they are tradable. So, if your mate gets the one that you want, you can always swap with him.
Nice. And you mentioned the daily, so let's talk about that. What does it involve exactly?
Okay, so every day go to Fisherman's Rest and speak to Captain Raymond, and he will give you a daily task. Catch 7 fish from this region. So now he will mark a spot on the map within that region. You don't actually need to go to that spot. As long as you are within the region, you can catch your 7 fish. Cool. And then you catch your 7 fish and you go back and you speak to him, and then he will give you caps, XP, ammo, usual Pip-Boy Daily stuff. And then on top of that, you're going to get common and improved bait from him as a reward. Yep. You're going to have a chance for the fishing hook plans, but you're also going to have a guarantee for some camp plans as well. On top of that as well, there are lifetime challenges. So if you complete 7 Pip-Boy Dailies, then you'll get the Milik plushie. If you complete 14, then it's the Angler plushie. And then I think it's 28 and you unlock the Linda Lee plushie.
So we've covered the dailies, we've covered the types of fish, the fishing mods and all that. Is there anything important about the fishing mechanic itself that you feel like that we've missed?
So the only other thing would be Linda Lee.
Yep.
So what you can do is, if you're not interested in using the fish bits for food buffs, what you can do is you give Linda Lee the fish bits, and she will literally cough up weapons and armor that you can script. But Captain Raymond explains all that as well for you. There is a limit to how much you can turn in every day. You catch a lot of the common fish, so it's actually a good way to move a lot of the fish bits. So,
all right. So what about those quality of life updates? Because this is not just the fishing mechanic, though that is the star feature in this update. There's been changes to perk cards, there's changes to fast traveling as well. So can you give me a bit of an update as to what exactly is going on there?
Fast traveling, what they've done is they've actually reduced the base cost of that.
Nice.
So it's now 25% cheaper to fast travel. And then to balance that out, they've actually taken the travel agent card, which used to reduce the cost, and they've modified it so that if you are a little hoarder and over cucumbered, you can equip travel agent, and then what it will do is it'll allow you to fast travel, but at a higher cost.
Even when you're over encumbered. That's awesome. That's cool. All right. Now we're talking.
It does come at a pretty price tag. So if you are 10 times over your carry weight, then it'll be 6,000 caps.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't matter if you're going that far or if you're going to the other side of the map.
So you got to be careful with it. But what about some of the other new perk cards? I've seen some cool ones listed.
There's a lot. There's 36, I believe, and then a legendary.
Nice.
The other ones that I was actually really interested in is that they've changed the science perk cards to be elemental damage now.
Nice.
So if you equip these perk cards, then it will either buff your energy damage, your fire damage, so your holy fire builds, your cryo damage,
Yes.
So I'm going to start digging all of my energy weapons out for sure.
And the holy fire as well. I'm looking. That's become one of my favorite weapons in the game for sure. I'm looking forward to testing that.
A lot of the other perk cards, a lot of them have been reduced as well. So instead of them being a rank 3 perk card, they might be a rank 1 perk card, but they cost 2 points.
Any other standout perk cards that are new? There's a big list. We don't need to go through all of them, but are there any other standout ones that you think are going to be awesome or that are just your personal favorite?
I actually like the fact that you're not going to need to equip certain perk cards to mod your weapons now.
Yeah.
If you know the plan, that's it. You don't have to stop and, unequip cards to put gunsmith and, all of that on. They're also done something similar with fireproof and home defense. So instead of needing to have home defense perk card on to build turrets or traps or things like that, that's it. If you know the plan, you can craft it.
We've covered a bunch of this update. There's a lot to go through. There's a lot to talk about, and there's probably stuff that we've missed. But as I said at the beginning of this video, I want to make sure that we dedicate a time at the end here to talk about Buffs and Brew and what you're doing there with your community. As I said, I've read your website and articles countless times to help me with new rewards and stuff that I'm doing. But what are you doing with Buffs and Brew, like in that community? Buffs and Brew is my baby.
I do need to shout out to all my chefs first. On PlayStation, shout out to Amy and Brian.
Mm-hmm.
On PC, we have Anne, Ashley, Damashi, Haley, Trashy, Michelle, and Hal. And
Great.
then on Xbox, we have another Amy, Brian, Cassie, Amy, Jackson, George, Mary, Matt, Met, Nicole, Suzanne, Sean, Scott, and Stephen.
All right.
So they're all my chefs. So what it is that players either come to us for education, as in, what buffs should I be running with my builds, or they can place food buffs orders with us. So, say for example, you work full time and you get home from work, you want to smash out your dailies, catch a few events, and then log off and go to bed. You don't want to sit there and have to farm for starlight berries or fire caps to make buffs, because it is quite time consuming and it's chewing up time that you could be playing with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do is you place a food buff order with us, be it carnivore or herbivore or hybrid. And then our chefs go out and they will farm for everything. And then they craft it and they come to you, they deliver it, and you pay us a small junk fee in return. So
that's very cool. That resonates with me because I do have a job and I'll get, like, I love the camp items that are automatically generating that stuff for me, but there are things that aren't automatically generated. So I could hypothetically put an order with you for some buffs that are going to help me in a raid, for instance, and your team would be able to help with that.
Oh, absolutely. And we have reasonable order limits. So, you know, if you're averaging 30 hours a week of playtime, we can supply buffs for that. We can do chems, alcohol. We actually have little raid bundles set up. So if you say to us, I'm a carnivore running an auto axe and I need buffs for a raid, we will go, yep, so you're going to need agility, endurance, strength, blah, blah, blah. We will go out and we'll, farm for it and deliver it. If you need overdrive, Nuka-Cola Dark, that's...
So how did you get the idea for this?
So it actually started during COVID.
Yeah.
So there was a group of us that were considered not essential workers. So we would sit at home and we would wait for our essential workers to get home to jump on and play with us. And then what was happening is they were jumping on and we were like, let's go do events. And they're like, oh, no, I've got to farm for buffs. And we were like, oh, you know, well, we're sitting at home working. Why don't we farm for your buffs for you? And then that means that you can play with us as soon as you get home. Now, the three of us that actually started Buffs and Brew, we had no idea. Like, we didn't know where to find starlight berries. We didn't know what cave fungus was, you know, where to find mega sloth mushrooms. And that's partly where I started data mining my farming guides. You know, because they were like, oh, where do you find this? How can I find that? And I was like, I'll just data mine it.
Yeah. Which are a godsend, by the way. Your guides are an absolute godsend. So thank you for doing those.
I'm really glad to hear that. It's honestly, that's why I do what I do. Like, people coming to me saying, thank you for writing that guide. You've made my experience in the game better, funner, more enjoyable. That's why I do it. That's
nice. And I assume as well, new Gone Fishing update, there's new fish-based food buffs. I assume that's going to be part of the menu as well.
Oh, you bet. Yes. Yep. We'll be offering all of the fish dishes.
Yep.
We will also be offering the canned items that are coming on the scoreboard. There is a cannery workstation. So we will be crafting those and adding them to our menu as well. We're also adding some of the teas from the Big Bloom to our menu as well.
So let's say someone wanted to become a chef or just be part of this community and part of the process. Like, how would they get involved?
Your best bet would to be reach out to me directly. So either go through my Facebook page and send me a message, or join my Discord and just in the general chat just say, hey, I'm on Xbox or PlayStation and I'm interested in being a chef. Or I'm on PC, I'd love to donate some items. We're trying to offer our services to more people in different countries. If you are from another country and you're not confident, or you're unsure, please come to us anyway. We've got a lot of patience, and all we want to do is give you buffs. We want to buff you up and send you back out into the wasteland. So,
and you mentioned your Facebook, you mentioned our Discord. I want to stress they are in the description below, linked there. Before we close out this video, are there any closing remarks that you want to give about what you're doing with Duchess Flame, what you're doing with Buffs and Brews, or anything with your community? This is your time.
Oh, all right. So I'm actually in the middle of recoding my website.
Cool.
It's going to be a lot more user-friendly, more guides, more calculators, more farming features. That's actually going to help the community more. I definitely want Buffs and Brew to be bigger Like, we've got such a great community. It's not just supplying the buffs; it's the community that come to us to help. Like, we hold raffles because we're in dire need of pepper. Like, we use hundreds of pepper.
It's so hard. It's so hard to get every time.
There are 83 spawns per server. Ask me how I know that.
I love that you called that out. Yeah.
So what we do is we hold raffles every few months, and we offer things like, you know, the winner could get a glowing mask or, you know, a traveling leather coat, and then to partake in the raffle, you just have to donate pepper or sugar bombs or, you know, but it's the community that's actually donating these glowing masks and things like that allow us to hold these raffles, because Buffs and Brew is a non-for-profit. We have no interest in pricing our foods. Like, we want a new player to be able to afford our goods just as much as an elder player that's been here for 6 years. So we are very much a non-for-profit, but it's definitely the community side of it that I love the most about Buffs and Brew.
Hell yeah.
And I do want it to be bigger. Like, we've got people that have joined us as donors, and they've made lifetime friends.
Your website revamp, I'm very much looking forward to. That's going to be sick.
Oh, yeah. I've actually had to get a friend to come in because we're going hardcore, full on.
All right.
But yeah, so it'll be a lot more. Just, you know, I've already got 378 guides on my website, so I'm just going to shove a little bit more in there.
Well, as I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm also going to be messaging you later about the buffs that I need for my end game raid build. I want to make sure that all the Fishbit new recipes that are applicable for my build, I want to make sure that I'm capturing them. But Duchess, thank you so much, and also thank you for just shedding all of the information and knowledge that you've known based on your 100+ hours of playing the Gone Fishing update. It's been awesome. This has been fun. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me. I've actually had a blast. It's been great.
Of course. And again, if you want to check out the Gone Fishing update, it is up now. Thank you so much to Bethesda for partnering with this video. And until next time, this has been the Lone Vault Wanderer. Please take care of yourselves, and would you kindly keep fighting the good fight.